Hello everyone, it's Talia. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have a series recommendation for you. I wouldn't call it fantasy because the fantastical elements are like teeny tiny, but I really enjoyed this series overall. I'm still in the middle of reading it, so just letting you guys know, but overall I have enjoyed each and every book I read from Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Yes, there is a TV show, and that one's solid as well, but I do recommend that you read the first couple of books before you go into the TV show because, oh my god, this world is so magical. And I really appreciated how Gabaldon sucks us into the story and into this world. Yeah. Our protagonist, Claire Randall, is an ex-army nurse in the 1940s, I think it was 1945, and her husband Frank is a historian. So these two Brits go to a small Scottish town called Inverness to research Frank's family history because his ancestors were involved in a battle between the Scots and the Brits called Culloden, and he wants to learn more about his family's history. But when they get there, Claire wanders around and comes across this curious site where there are these big rock formations just clustered together, and she almost hears a sound and is drawn to them, and somehow she is transported to 18th century Scotland, like that. And that is the most openly magical thing that happens here. In those times, the times that she gets transported to, there are rebels against the current Scottish king. There's so much tension between the British Kingdom and Scotland. The political tension is so real, and the world is not very woman-friendly, as you might imagine. And Claire tries so hard to survive in this situation, and she crosses paths with Jamie Fraser. If I were to say I have one fictional crush out of all the books that I read so far in this year, it's Jamie Fraser. And I'm not even sorry. He is a rebel Scot who is a wanted man for defying the king, but he's also a very honorable and loving person, and we follow these two as they try to survive the turmoil of the times as Claire tries to get back to her home, and as she discovers more about herself and Jamie, there's of course a romance that follows, and each and every page that they're on, I'm just like, give me more. I love it. I know that so far it sounds like a very whimsical, historical fiction romance story. It's not. It's very brutal. There are torture scenes, very bloody battles, very brutally explicit violence that's portrayed in these books. So if that's not your thing, just FYI, it's not, the Gabaldon does not hold back. But I really enjoyed that aspect. I really enjoyed the raw elements of both the romance and the physical affection and the violence of that time because, I don't know, I like the contrast of the magical start of the books and then the very real stakes that are introduced later on. I really do think that Claire has a great character arc because being a nurse, she knows that she's capable of doing so much, but in those times, being a hard-headed woman can get her into so much trouble. She doesn't lose that aspect, don't get me wrong. This is very, she's a very strong female character throughout, but she learns how to use her strength to manipulate the situations she's thrown into, and I think that's very clever without having her be a very submissive female character. She learns how to use her power, which is very, very entertaining to see. I also enjoy that each book has its own arc, like its own plot and its own themes, but the fact that the story continues on, each book feels kind of contained, but there is no like happily ever after. We see the after of that seemingly happily ever after, and it's not happy. Oh my god. They suffer through so much together, and the bond between them just grows stronger and stronger, and just go into the story and don't be intimidated. My only possibly negative thing about these books is the size. Look at that. That's one book. It's in Turkish, but like it's so big. Look at that. It's my head. Next to my head. But that also could be a positive for you because we get so much content in this universe. I don't know, I really enjoyed the books, and I think they were well paced at times. At times I did struggle through a couple pages, but I think the read is very much worth it. I do have a couple of suggestions if you do want to go into this series to actually enjoy them and not be daunted by the sheer length, because I think she's coming up with the 9th book now and she plans to write more in this universe. First things first, you can put as much time in between books as you want, because like I said, each book has its own plot, and if each book feels completed at the end, so you don't have a very obvious cliffhanger that you need to read 2 of those very large books in like back to back, which I feel like really helped me get more excited for my next read, because I feel like I would be overwhelmed if I tried to marathon these. I read them like 2 months apart and it worked out just fine. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I do suggest that you read at least the first 2 books before you watch the series. I do feel like the TV series was a very good adaptation of this, but imagining the world and having insights into the characters' thoughts helped me visualize them and get more invested in them before I went into the show, where obviously you can't give each and every character a monologue and like what they think in every situation, but yeah, that way you can familiarize yourself with the characters and the world before you go into the show, and I assure you the show is one of my favorites as well, so don't refrain from watching that either. But yeah, that was hopefully a short review of the Outlander series. I read the 4th book in the series recently, and I'm definitely gonna continue on, probably maybe this month, maybe next month, but it's just a very authentic historical fiction that has so much romance and high stakes that it really satisfies my need of like drama and high stakes in this world that I'm very familiar with, so it feels like I belong in there already. So yeah, I just wanted to share my enjoyment of that with you. If you decide to read the books, do let me know how it goes, and if you've watched the series already, I would love to discuss it without like spoilers into the far future, because I'm, like I said, in the middle of the series right now, but Outlander is worth your time. Give it a shot. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye!